Immediately you said that she started maltreating her. I already imagined, like, what if her child dies, you know?
Obviously, you were childless for 12 years. There's probably a reason why you didn't have that child for 12 years.
I also feel like a lot of times there are not all men, but some men who are not emotionally invested in their family.
I'm not trying to even imagine the trauma that this small Daniel would have by moving from family to family.
Hey guys, welcome back again to our channel.
Yeah,
so we have another story that we're bringing to you and we want to see what you think, but first of all, let's share our opinions on it, Dima.
Yeah, okay, this one is a bit lengthy and the story is extremely sad.
Oh god.
But I just want to read it for you and then...
By the way, I don't know what the story is yet.
Yeah,
so
but like when I read it, I'm like, what the hell? But then I want to hear your opinion and I'll also read what other people think.
Okay.
For 12 years, I watched my sister Ruth cry herself to sleep because she was childless. I was her anchor through those days. Ruth would call me late in the night, sobbing so hard that I could barely make out her words. Brother, why me? Why can't I carry my own child? What did I do wrong? I would drive over to her place, sit beside her on the kitchen floor and let her cry into my shoulder until dawn. I watched her fight silently through endless doctor's visits, spiritual consultations, midnight prayers and expensive procedures that only drained their savings. Her husband, Tade, stood by her. Although he was hopeful and supportive, I could even tell he was growing tired.
Yeah.
So by the 12th year, they finally decided to adopt. It felt like breathing again after drowning. I helped them with the adoption process through a friend that works at an orphanage. It was seamless, and within a month, little Daniel, who was 2 years at the time, came into their lives like light pouring into a cracked wall. I remember how Ruth called me one day and said, brother, he smiled at me today and called me mommy. Can you believe it? I'm a mother. Yeah. I smiled through tears. She dressed him in the finest clothes, threw the grandest third birthday party, and told everyone this boy gave me a reason to live. Then 3 years later, she got pregnant. Her joy was unspeakable. The long-awaited miracle had come. 9 months passed and she delivered a baby boy. Then Daniel's trouble started. He became unwanted.
Daniel is the
one that they adopted. Yeah. His once scary mother now shouted at him for everything. When he cried, she yelled that he was too soft. She meted out harsh punishment for his little offenses. Because I was a constant visitor in their home, I saw everything he was going through. I had to confront my sister. Ruth, what are you doing? Why are you treating your first son so badly? I said bitterly. She got angry. He's not my first son. Moreover, I didn't just beat him. He's stubborn. Can't you see?
Yeah.
That day, I let it slide, but I went home unsettled. 2 weeks later, I found Daniel outside one rainy evening, barefoot and shivering because he broke a glass cup. I knew I had to act. I told her I'm taking him to live with me. I expected some resistance, but she gave none. In fact, she was glad I mentioned it. Her husband, though, never maltreated Daniel. Somehow he permitted it with his silence, so I took Daniel in. 6 months later, tragedy struck. Her biological son fell ill. They rushed him to the hospital. He was diagnosed of acute meningitis, and in less than a week, he died. I went there and consoled them and returned to my house. 2 months after, she's calling me to return her son, Daniel. She said she was foolish and overwhelmed by stress of motherhood and never meant to treat him that way. I blandly told her no. In fact, my wife is already growing fond of the innocent boy, so she resorted to threatening me, forgetting I'm her elder brother. She told me he's her son, that I have no right to take him, and now she wants to go to court. Now tell me, should I return Daniel to her? Should I trust her with him again? Knowing how quickly her love for him turned to rejection. I have forgiven her, but I have to protect the poor boy.
What a word.
When I read this story,
yeah. Immediately you said that she started maltreating her. I already imagined, like, what if her child dies, you know? Yeah, I've heard similar stories before where somebody adopts a child and then they eventually have their own child and they suddenly don't feel connected to the adopted child. But this is a child that, like, kind of opened your womb, right? That kind of opened, like, gave you the first chance to motherhood.
Exactly.
So why are you suddenly being mean to the child? And the same child who you think was very soft is
all of a sudden
wanting back now.
Exactly.
I think she's just looking for somewhere to hide her emotions or somewhere to invest her emotions. It's not because she genuinely likes the child.
Exactly.
She's looking out for her own self. She's being selfish. And I don't think the brother should return the child because the same thing will happen. Because she can potentially get another child and this same thing will happen
again.
She has had all the chance. She had to be a good human being to this child. and she didn't. And then she even allowed her brother to take the child.
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation. So why are you suddenly... And the brother should not, because now you've taken the child as your child. Your wife is growing fond of the child. Are you going to give away all those connections that you've created with the child? Are you even thinking about how it's going to affect the child, like moving homes like that? You know, it's going to psychologically affect the child as well.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, sorry for cutting you short over there, but what I think, because you're talking about the brother, I think the brother has, like, limited hand, because if they go to court, there's a high probability that that woman would win, because on paper, that is the son. But she could claim that, oh, when she had the child, as a new mom, I didn't know how to handle 2 kids. So when he told me he wanted to take, I did not say I am giving away my son. Just go and be with him. So she can easily claim that.
But in a sane society, first of all, you should be charged for child abuse, right?
Exactly.
Because she was abusing the child. So I feel like if the brother gets a very good lawyer, they can plead their case. They can actually win the case.
Yeah.
Because if she didn't, like, abuse the child at some point, it's even understandable. If she just gave out the child and said that she was overwhelmed, it's understandable. It could be tagged postpartum depression. But when you are physically abusing the child, what excuse do you give?
Exactly.
So I don't think the brother should give out. The child has become your child. Keep the child.
I think we even start from the beginning, first of all. Firstly, you were childless for 12 years. There's probably a reason why you didn't have that child for 12 years.
I feel like God really gave her enough time to prepare on motherhood.
Exactly.
But she still missed out.
And she still missed out. And then all of a sudden, you have this light that shone for you and your family. You brought in Daniel, and then Daniel was the best thing that ever happened to you. And then all of a sudden, maybe because of that love you portrayed, God now said, okay,
child that called you a mom, that's a lot.
And then God was like, oh, okay, let me give you.
Let's try.
And then they gave you this child that you are supposed to even now bring Daniel to even help to, like, all of you growing as a family, because you wanted to be a mom, right? You have 2 children. From 0 for 12 years, you have 2, which makes it like you've enlarged your family. And then all of a sudden, the boy, your miracle baby, Daniel,
came along,
is no longer the baby Daniel that you threw a third birthday party for.
He became too feminine and slow.
Exactly.
All of a sudden.
And then all of a sudden,
so
now,
if this was your biological child, Daniel, that was behaving like so soft
exactly,
and all of that,
would you have
going to disown the child?
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, the one that you gave birth to now died. Then Daniel, all of a sudden, all those softness, everything. Kama is really a bitch, because what I'm now going to ask her is, you that are requesting Daniel back, all those beating and throwing him, sending him out in the rain and all of those softness, would you now accept them? Or because Daniel has not changed.
She's looking for emotional solitude. Like, she's overwhelmed at the moment, and she's just looking for somebody that would validate her.
Exactly.
And the child is also like a son. She gives me the vibe of those kind of people that want to, like, secure their position in their marriage with a child, you know. So if she doesn't have a child, because the way it sounds, it doesn't even sound like the husband was so concerned about. It sounds like the husband is supportive of, you know, wasn't even like all about having a child and all of that. And I blame the husband as well, because why couldn't you be a man? Why can't you be a man to, like,
so it also means that he probably also doesn't really see Daniel as his son, because man of the house, your brother-in-law came and took your son and there was no reaction, because sometimes silence means yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like some people are actually, like, very weak. I feel like there are some men.
I don't think it's weakness, Choma, because I don't think it's weakness.
But how come you don't have an idea?
I think it's just because he also doesn't see Daniel as his son.
True.
I don't think it's about weakness, because he could have just easily said, why are you taking my son?
Child,
because like the time, Choma, you adopt a child, next now come and carry your child out of your house and you won't react.
But I think, very true. Probably he didn't see him.
He didn't see him as his son. That's why he kept quiet.
But I also feel like a lot of times there are, not all men, but there are some men who are not emotionally invested in their family.
True.
You know, so they are only focused on providing and they don't care about the nurturing. So he could have been that kind of father as well.
True.
Who just goes with anything the wife says, you know.
True. I agree. But then it's also another thing that I also want to beg, especially for adoption. Like, adopting is not easy, right? And I rep people that go through that. But when you're adopting, also bear in mind that you could get pregnant. You not think about it. If I pick this child, will I still be okay with this child when I have my biological children? Because adopting someone that another person could have probably fully loved, and then you now have your own and you start maltreating that child is very, very unfair. Because I'm not trying to even imagine the trauma that this small Daniel would have by moving from family to family. Do you get?
Yeah.
Because now you don't
imagine going back to the family where he was being abused. What psychological effect would it have on the child?
Exactly. Because probably if the boy was not being maltreated, he probably might have even been better off in an orphanage where a family that really, really wants that child could have adopted that child.
Exactly. She said that the child was so soft and all of that. Why was the child suddenly becoming soft? What if it's because of her abuse?
Exactly.
That the child started withdrawing.
Exactly.
This kind of people could have even told the child, like, after all, you're not my child. And these kind of things, they get to the child.
Exactly. So I'm going to read people's comments as well so that we know if they are in support or against. Dear people, please know that adopted children are not placeholders until your biological children arrive.
Exactly.
And as for Daniel, he should remain with the brother.
Absolutely.
Because that's what you were saying, like a placeholder.
Yes.
Because I think, because looking at it, that's what Daniel was to her. Because immediately her biological child came, she was very quick to let go of him.
Exactly.
Because now I have my son. Even trying to tell him that you are not my son. For her to have made those comments means that she constantly reminds him of.
Yeah.
That you're not my son. So immediately my child came, Daniel, you can easily go.
So that's how are we sure that you requesting to bring Daniel back is not a postmortal
exactly feeling. Like let me use it to replace my son, because she could also easily get pregnant again. So the probability of her making the same thing, I won't even call it mistake.
And the person said like she was requesting for the child like few weeks after,
2 months after,
2 months after the child. You see. So she's not even done mourning her child, and she's looking for like a quick replacement already.
Then someone now said she didn't know Daniel was a waymaker. She didn't know Daniel was a special spiritual kid. Some children come into your life and open doors for bigger
100%.
things. What a spiritual, naive person she was. Do not return Daniel, because 100%. She will start to maltreat the kid again once she gets pregnant and has another kid. Everyone, your adopted child is legally your child. They are not placeholders till you get your biological children. So someone now says, sometimes we know why our prayers are not answered. Daniel was a test and she failed woefully. Please continue to protect Daniel.
I swear.
So someone else now said, legally speaking, he can't keep Daniel with him because he's legally adopted, except they go to court. So they can either settle internally or the family will scatter after the court hearing.
Yeah, you know that this is what we said. Exactly. But I still gave my own opinion of she was abusing the child. So technically that should be a thing as well.
So someone now said, I am Daniel. I don't want to go back to her, please. So someone now said, when it concerns the law, emotions does not have a place. She adopted the child with proper documentation. And as such, she will win in the court of law.
By the way, a child is not a property, right?
Exactly.
So I know it's legal. Like she has all the legal documents. But we're not talking about land. We're talking about human being, a child. So there are so many other factors that will come into play.
So this person now said, however, if you can prove that she maltreated the child when he was with her, then another angle of the law will be meted on her. But by virtue of possession, she will win the case.
But I feel like before she win this kind of case, there will be some correctional courses that she have to take.
True.
Because they can't just hand her over the same child that she's been abusing. It doesn't make sense.
If there's no evidence, they will give him back. So someone now said, that's why video evidence is very important. Any small thing I would snap. She won't even get a chance to talk for long before I send her view once as a reminder. Hopefully, before I send her view once, on WhatsApp where you send a video that you can only watch once. Hopefully she seeks forgiveness and God gives her a second chance to experience motherhood again. Meanwhile, there are beautiful stories, and I hope hers turn out to be great someday. Someone now said, by moral sentiment, it will be easy to say Daniel should stay there where he is. But don't forget, it is the lady and her husband that have legal rights over Daniel, since they are the ones who officially adopted him. The lady would definitely win in court. Approach social welfare office and state Daniel's ordeal. I believe welfare office should know the step to take in the bits of interest for Daniel.
It's going to be very dicey.
It's going to be very, very dicey.
If the brother gets a very good lawyer, they really have a case to plead.
They have a case to plead, right? Then it now also means that, because on paper, so it means that probably Daniel will now have to be readopted again.
Oh gosh.
That's just.
But it's okay. Like these are not things that he would be aware of. So these are things that will go on behind the scene.
Yeah. Someone that said, not out of revenge or being selfish or anything terrible, but Daniel shouldn't go back to her. The boy deserves peace,
At
love,
least not
care,
yet, you know.
and everything wonderful. He didn't beg to be adopted, only to be maltreated after a short while. Lessons learned. She should hold on to her tears and fears. She can visit Daniel whenever she wants, but she lost every right to that child.
I know for sure that people do change, right?
Yeah.
But her own is too quick. Her own is like just everywhere. So I feel like even if they're going to give her back the child, she should take some time. I don't think she has not.
Yeah, 2 months is too short because she's going to be in so much shock that the child she carried for 10 or 9 months, and then the child just fell ill, and 1 week after the child is gone. So she's going to be very, very traumatized. Yeah. And because, God, imagine when she postpartum without a child.
Even when she brings Daniel back, she can possibly call him the name of her late child. Because like that solitude is what she's looking for, you know.
And then do you not even feel like the maltreatment could be worse? Because now your child is not here, and then it can be a constant reminder that you're not my child, and if not because my child is dead, you will not be here. So it's very, very dicey.
Yeah.
So please, even if I don't know how people maltreat kids. If you know you don't want them, don't have them or don't adopt them. Yeah. Like they are better off wherever they are than you coming to treat them unfairly, punish them. And like a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old can break glass.
I know that
they don't know much.
I know that postpartum is real. I understand.
Yeah, because that's something like it might be worse for Daniel, because imagine going through postpartum without a child. You're going to be extremely miserable.
Yeah.
Do you get?
Like, I understand that postpartum is real, and people, like, you can't really sometimes control what you're going through because you're not even like yourself.
Yeah.
But for her to be aware and, you know, say it several times that, oh, after all, he's not my child. She's very intentional. Like, she's very aware of what she was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So she should, my sixth sense, she should go, before they even
go to therapy.
Consider, giving her back the child, she should go through therapy for at least 1 year. And be sure that she can be okay in herself before
and even be sure that she wants the child, because she could probably be requesting for Daniel because she does not have that child, and so she needs someone to call her mommy. So she should go through that 1 year, go through therapy, heal, and be sure that she really wants to be Daniel's mom.
Exactly.
Not just because, oh, I lost my child, I need a placeholder to call a child.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel. I feel like the brother can be like, okay, you want Daniel, I will send Daniel back, but these are the conditions. You have to go and then take time to be sure that you really need, because maybe in that 1 year you could also get pregnant, and then maybe when you not get pregnant, you be like, I don't want him again, hold him, so that we don't keep pushing Daniel up and down.
And with what the brother has said that they went through, like from the beginning to helping her with the process and all of that, and the fact that even when all these things were happening, she wasn't able to listening to the brother who like was there with her
for 12 years.
It tells a lot as well.
Yeah, it really tells a lot. So please, let's be very, very mindful. Okay,
let's be human, you know, whether it's your child or not, because let's even say that this is a house help. It's still not okay to mistreat a house help.
Thank you, because I see people do that.
Yeah, you know, so just be human.
So how I used to just imagine it is like when you want to mistreat people, I just think in my head, what if this is my sibling, or what if this is my child, or what if this is my parent,
or my niece,
or my niece or my nephew? Think about it like that. So when you want to maltreat people, just try to reverse and be like, if this was done to me or your own relative, how would you take it? Like you hear that someone maltreated your cousin, someone maltreated your sibling, or your nephew, your niece, your partner, how would you take it? That's how, when you see, you know that they say, do to others what you would like them to do to you. As simple as that, the golden rule, as simple as that.
Yeah, anyway, like with all these things though, so what do you think about adopting? Do you think you're open to adopting?
I won't lie, yeah, I am open. I think maybe what opened up my mind to it is because growing up as well, my dad, like I grew up with some brothers that are not like biologically mine, and he made the family large, and it was very beautiful.
And your dad didn't treat them any differently?
No, all of us, they're the ones in the UK.
Wow.
So like I think it just really depends on who you are as a person. So, but by God's grace, I want mine. But let's say, for example, I have tried and I don't get pregnant like naturally, and I've tried IVF and everything. I'm very open to adopting.
Me too. I feel like like what you said, I think I would want to go through that like pregnancy experience. I would want to like birth my child by myself. But if I'm not able to, I think I'm open to adopting. And even when I have a child, if I get into a situation where like maybe like a child is in certain situation and I feel like extremely connected to the child, I can still like adopt the child just because of that connection that I feel. So, and I would never treat a child like different. I know that I'm not a mother yet, but based on the kind of person that I am, I don't think I would even mistreat another person's child.
And I also even heard that the process of adopting is not even easy. So I would not go through all those processes to get a child, and then you now start mistreating that child. It doesn't even make sense at all.
Because whether it's my child or not, my adopted child is misbehaving, for example, I would be responsible because I'm the one that nurtured you into who you've become. So whether you're misbehaving or not, I would also imagine that if you were my biological child, you could have been behaving the same way.
Exactly.
So I think there's nothing wrong with adoption, but people should not should stop using adoption to just feel in their emotions. They should do it when they are really ready to do it.
Exactly. And then I think another thing too, like you can also check it, like if you feel that your own, let's say for example, you've gone to your nephew or nieces and you see that maybe you don't really care for them as much. I feel like adoption might not really be for, because another thing too, like it's not bad for you to say I don't want to adopt. It's very okay, because some people want their own things by themselves. So if you feel like you don't feel connected, you don't want to have a stranger in your home, it is very okay for you to say you're not pro-adoption, and nobody should judge you for your choices, but not the one where you will not get the person and then you will not start maltreating. So if you really want to even check if the adoption, you can go and maybe tell a relative, let me spend time with your kids and see. It might not really be exactly the same thing, but it will just give you a clue if you'd want to raise another child that you did not give birth to naturally. If you're not okay with that, it is very okay to be non-pro adoption, whatever, and nobody should charge you for your choices. But not when you're not gonna adopt, you're not start maltreating the person. That's where it does not make sense.
Well, I feel like there are sometimes that people are more, especially for people who haven't been parents before. I feel like there are sometimes that people might get excited about becoming a parent without like accounting for all the effort it will take. So, and by the time they get into the process, it's now more tedious than they had expected, and they start mistreating the child.
But finish up.
I don't know if there's any process of returning an adopted child.
I think there is, because that's what I wanted to cover up. Now that's what I'm saying, that it is okay not to be pro, because I've seen some people where they adopted kids or a child, and even with all they've tried to show the child love, they've tried to show the child care, and the child
working.
It wasn't working.
The child was not connecting with
the child was not connecting with. So that's what I'm trying to say, that it might not be for everybody.
And
what they did, they sent the child back, and the child got readopted or
which
whatever.
Is the right thing.
Which is the right thing.
Exactly. Child deserves a better opportunity.
You get so like if you adopt the child, and maybe some people adopt children that are maybe like 8, 9, and there are some children probably maybe where they've gone, they are already in a way formed to some extent, and you're trying to,
or even being disconnected from their mother can already cause some psychological effect, even at that young age,
and probably you've tried and you are hitting end walls or whatever. You can always
return the child.
Return the child.
Better than mistreating the child.
Exactly. Because I've watched even movies. I don't know about in reality, but I've watched and read books where people had to go and return the child because they didn't fit into
connection.
Exactly. So that's okay as well.
I honestly feel like adoption is okay. However, this is another topic though, but I don't like how people I feel like the industry is beginning to misuse the whole opportunity. People are beginning to run it as a proper business, It's no longer about collecting lost children or less privileged. People are actually intentionally being paid to just get pregnant and give birth just so that they have children at the
factory, where people can come and just
really, so they are paying. Because I heard a story back home about somebody that was paid, but this was maybe 10 years ago, was paid 120K to give there was a woman that was running that kind of business. So what she does is to get young girls, maybe if somebody gets pregnant at home, she'll pay the girl and take the child and sell to the mother's baby's home. And the cost of adopting is very high. People abuse the system all the time.
That's taking advantage of women. That's taking advantage of women, and then innocent children. Wow.
It's crazy. But I feel like people would always try to abuse any system. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. This is all we have. So please, I hope you read along with us in the story. Just drop your comments and your opinions in the comment section. And what would you have done in this situation if you're the brother? Do you think they should return the child to her? Drop your comments in the comment section.
And we'll see you in our next video.
Yeah. Bye guys.